Okay, so again, I'm just going to start from the beginning of Chuf just to read through. So, okay, Daas Tevunos, Ois Kuf Chuf 120. Omar Seichel, Zeh Klal. Right, so this is the summary. The Shama asked before for a summary. This is a summary. Zeh Klal Bertzois Hodem Baruch Hu Lechadash Mitzius Hateva Hakloli B'Tovera. When Hashem decided to create, to innovate the existence of nature with good and evil, so that the constituents of this natural world will make from both good and evil. Hashem did it through hashpo, which formed the existence of good in the nature. And then that good was embedded into this nature. Then Hashem hid or removed that hashpah, that emanation, by hastiras pnei tuvoi hester gomo, a complete and total concealment. V'nechku b'teva kol hahafseidim, and then as a result, they're embedded within the teva all of the shortcomings and all of the imperfections. Acher kach shovi hashpia b'haras ponav li'imotzinim tzoyos. And then, again, the secondary hashpo came and created all these other beings, Ishay Hateva Murkovim Metovera, Be'arkova Achas, which as a result created the constituents of the Teva, right? Because they were created through this Teva, which can now contain both good or perfection and imperfection. So Ishay Hateva, the constituents now were Murkovim, were a mixture, Metovera, Be'arkova Achas, together. And as a result, they now exist in the nature that they exist now. They exist, but they are in a state of decay. They're not eternal. And in the end, Hashem will have complete revelation and remove that imperfection and all of that decay. And as a result, the constituents will exist in a state of perfection and eternity. Now I will explain to you the nature of man. Okay, so now that we understand that everything that exists is a murkov, is a fusion of good and evil, and that it's temporary and decaying, now we're going to discuss the nature of mankind. Omar neshama deber, so speak, Yishamas Anoicha, I'm listening. So Omar Seichel, but Chila, once again, in the beginning, before that, Aktim lecho hakdoma achas tzrichel inyaneinu. First, I got to give you an introduction that's necessary. Omar neshama, Omar, speak. Okay, Mitzius Hodom Avodah, Osakov Chavdalat, Omar Seichel, Mitziusay Ha'odom, Bonoihu b'chochma amuko le'ein tachlis. So the nature of man is built on wisdom, on deep wisdom without end. Hashem created many creations, great and big. Gavoya me'al gavoya, different levels, right? One above the other. Gavoya maleim, and even greater upon them. Kulam tzrichim lemishmartom. They are all necessary for their posts. She'ein shum dover lo atola. Nothing is created without a reason, right? So everything in creation serves a purpose for the sake of that creation. V'akol oimed al hapina hayisoidis, and anything that's created is kind of, what's the word? Is all guided by this single foundational desire. Shehi masha'odem baruch hu roitza ba'avodas ha'odem, is that because everything is created to enable the service of Adam. Okay, that's the whole purpose of every creation. So, right, so every bug, every bacteria, every virus, every planet, every star, everything that exists in order to create this stage that's for Adam to serve God. Sheisakin hu kol hachesroinos, and which is mainly to fix, right, to remove all of these chesroinos, shvebriya, all of the deficiencies that are in the creation. V'yale atzma ilu acher ilu, and as a result, he will elevate himself until he is able to connect with the kedusha, the holiness of Hashem. V'hinei som kol inyonei harichuk mimenu. Hashem put all of these things of distance, we call the same, all their results. We call in Yoneh his haiskare ilov, and all of the elements that bring him close. We call the same, and all their outcomes. We kulum dvorim amukim atzum me'od. We call amdim nesgalav mesibos gdolas lagia el hashleimus haklali. Right. So this basically, again, this is very Mesilas Yesharim kind of talk. Right. Hashem put out all the different elements that bring a man away from his goal. Elements that bring a man closer to his goal, but all the elements are part of that plan to bring the person, to enable the person to reach a total perfection. Ba'amnam, however, the great will of Elyon, shetiya yad ha'odam magas lekol ha'inyonim harabim ha'ela. Hashem wanted that man's hand, that's literal translation, but basically man's agency, okay, would reach every corner of all these things. Shekulam misnoyim mitnu oisov umasav shalodim, so that all of them, they all are moved from his movements and his actions, right? Okay, well again, it's going to become clear. Second, v'harei ele koiniyos gdolos ki or chiorlogin hazeh. These are like what are they called? Gears within the chiorlogin. Chiorlogin is like a clock, right? There's a similar English word for it. I don't know what it is. There's something along those like choreography. I don't know choreography, whatever it's called in the clock mechanism, right? So but the bottom line is that the universe is basically like this great clock, right? And that's what it's set up. Each gear is connected to another one. And even a small gear, as a result, moves all of the big gears that are interconnected to it. So too, Hashem interconnected all of the creations, right? And all of their creation, all of these creations are connected to the man. In order that so that it moves them with his actions. And so all the rest are moved from him, right? So again, it's this two-step process. What it sounds like, right? So since all of the creations are connected by gears to some forces, and then Adam is also connected to those forces. So by Adam moving his gears, he moves the gears of those forces, and as a result, moves all the other gears that are connected to it. Okay. V'hinei kisa hakol b'michse ha'or u'boser hagashmi hazeh. Now Hashem covered it with a cover of skin and flesh, the physical skin and flesh. Shei nira ela that it's not visible. We only see the physical, superficial view of things. However, there's internal things on the inside. Great, again, gears that Hashem created in His world just for this purpose, all for His actions and for His service. So that he should be elevated, and he should add kedusha, or that he should go down and be decreased. B'chol matzov of harabim, and all sorts of other stations. V'zeh rak al yidei haneshama b'chol chalokeha v'shrosheha asher kolal begufoi. Right, and this is of course, works only through the neshama, which in all of her sections and roots, which he connected to the body, right? So it's not the physical body necessarily that's connected to all the gears. It's the neshama that's connected to all the gears. So he connects it to this pasuk that great things Hashem you made, and whatever nifloisecha machshaveisecha eleinu. I'm not sure what he sees from this pasuk, but okay. Ve'oimer oidecha al kineirois nifleisi nifloyu maasecha nafshi yardas me'oid. I'm not sure what he means, but something to do. He sees something in those psukim that I don't fully understand. It says in the psukim that there's wonders in the creation, but how he sees from that pasuk of wonders that means that a person's neshama is connected to all of those things, I'm not sure. Anyways, because the body certainly does not understand all of these great things, like the nefesh does, because you can't see these things physically, but only spiritually. Okay? Right? So far so good? However, from the things that are interconnected to all of these gears, is also the evil in all of its details. We call Eila Dvorim Hamitztarchim L'matzav Harishon Hazeh Shel Odom Shehu Bo'olam Hazeh. And all of this is necessary for the state of mankind in this first state, which is this physical world. And all of them are also dependent on Hashem's revealing His oneness, which I explained above, which is designed to reveal the light from within the darkness. And from the concealment of Hashem's presence, which is what is made first now, with all of its outcomes, the Hashem's oneness will be revealed in the end. Okay. Because Hashem wanted that his oneness will be revealed in actuality. And this is through all of these stratagems and all of the circular ways that Hashem created in the world. Like the psukim that we mentioned above, L'mantedu v'taminu li v'tavinu ki ani Hashem, anihu, etc. Veru atoki ani anihu, etc. Ki betchila hu roitz levar davar zeh b'poel, because he first wanted that this should be brought out in actuality. Misav kol hasivuv hagalgal el nekuda azois, and so he rotates everything that in existence towards this point. V'amnam k'shiyeh nishlam ha'inyan hazeh. When this will be fully, completed, right? This revelation, when that will actually be clarified in actuality, then from then on, all of the creatures will attach themselves to him, in order to rejoice and delight in the perfection of his oneness that was revealed. To bask in the glory of his kedusha, of his holiness, and to appreciate in of his perfection to always these deep things that deeper than previously. I'm not sure really what he's driving at over here, because he started with Ra and then
and he talks about a revelation.
Right. I mean, it sounds like what he wants to say over here is that right, because since he said before that, right, that the whole creation is built on the idea of Hashem's revelation of his oneness, right? Mm-hmm. And that revelation of his oneness is done by, I guess, removal of this Ra, right, from the darkness, the removal of the darkness and revelation of the light. And the Ra that he told us is within the gears. So therefore, the mechanism, the clock, so to speak, is designed such so that through the proper movement of those gears, the Ra is removed from the world, right? Meaning it's built into, since I guess the chiddush over here is that since it's built into the fabric of the universe, that the Ra has to be removed through the revelation of his yichud. So that's in the fabric of the universe. Is this mechanism is already in place, that through actions of mankind, they have a way. They know what they're doing. They have a way to get the Ra out. I guess that's what he was trying to say. Okay. Nimtza. Okay, so what comes out now that after the revelation? Bekan shnei sugim b'puloisov. Okay, let me see. Nimtza again, once again. Nimtza bekan shnei sugim b'puloisov isborach. There are two types of actions that Hashem has. I think it's talking about Hashem's actions, right? Let's look at what they say over here.
God's actions are divided into two distinct
God's
areas,
actions, right? So there are two types of God's actions. One, Aleph, Mashiyase achar shekvar nizbarer yichudoi vehaminu bnei odom b'poel. Things that are done after Hashem's revelation was clarified, and all the people now believe in Him, or right, accept Him in actuality. V'hu klal haschar ve'agmul, which is reward, right, and consequence. Asher mehusoi, which is from His essence. Uprotov loy musogim hematim min haguf, which is the essence of which and the details of which are not understandable to us now when we are in our body. Ragzen noida, this only thing we know, vadai shehamin b'chlalhu, that the general type is liyos ne'enim ziv kedoshos yisborach, that we were going to be basking in Hashem's glory. Well, the radiance of His kedusha, of His holiness. K'mamoram zal, like the Gemara says, tzadikim yoshrim, tzadikim are sitting, v'tusayim b'rashayim, and their crowns in their heads, v'ne'anim ziv hashchina, and they're benefiting, they're delighting from the ziv, the radiance of the Shechina. Ve'in sofik lo shiyasham protim rabim shel mini hanois, and it's certain to us there are going to be other great details of types of enjoyment. Right? So this is a very interesting point over here he wants to make. He wants to say that, yes, we only understand that the general kind of pleasure of Olam Haba is the pleasure of basking in God's Kedusha. But what exactly that means, we don't know. But what we do know, that it's going to have many, many details. How do I know that it's going to have many, many, like, what's the word? It's not going to be, it's going to be multifaceted. How do I know that it's going to be multifaceted? Kal v'chomer min ha'olam hazeh, because it's a kal v'chomer from this world. Shehu ketzel over, which is nothing but a shadow, right? This world is a cheap knockoff, right? V'kova boy ha'odam baruch hu kama minei hanois toivos lehanos mehem b'nei odam, and still Hashem in filled it with all sorts of different enjoyments and pleasures for people. So right, so achklolum einam elahanois achushim, and in general, but they're only like very limited sense experiences, which is very kind of a cheap kind of enjoyment. So kol shikein olam shekulei tov. So certainly in a world that's all totally good, shafal pisha minhu echad. So even though yes, the general idea of the pleasure is basking in Hashem's glory, whatever kedusha, right, holiness. Because there's the goodness that is in the Olam Haba is a goodness of spirituality, of intelligence and attachment. But still we must say that the elements will be many, right? There will be many types of many type of experiences of God's kedusha, not necessarily one type. Again, I don't know what the need for this kal v'chomer is, but why it's necessary, why he needs, meaning just to let us know, hey, don't worry, you're gonna have really good time. It's gonna be, yeah, okay. But I'm guessing, perhaps, that because since again he's going on this point that there's so many details in this world. Why? Because to give us an opportunity to fix up all of these details and elevate in many different ways. So mida keneged mida, so to speak, the perfections that we earn at this each step of the way here in this world will be rewarded again in many different perfections or enjoyments in the next world. It's not just like one big thing. You get to that point and you got it. No, in each step of the way, you get each possible different things, which perhaps is very interesting because it also explains maybe why, in Derech Hashem, he says that not everybody in Olam Haba will have the same level, right? How could there be levels in Olam Haba? It's all basking in God's glory. It's all the same. The answer is no. There are many different ways or details of levels to basking in God's glory, and that would all depend on how many levels, so to speak, you unlocked in your avodas Hashem in this world. So maybe it's not just like, oh cool, there are going to be very interesting experiences out there. It's that each of these experiences are part of the schema that he's putting together. Anyways, let's keep going. And this is what I mentioned to you with regards to Hashem's hashpah, right? Again, that's part of that section that I still don't fully understand. That he said that Hashem created a certain hashpah that emanates in order to be able to give this kedusha to the beings that he created. Because it's designed only to produce spiritual elements, experiences of kedusha. Okay, I'm not sure how this connects. Anyway, so that's one type of Hashem's actions. That what? Hashem's actions during the state of reward. V'asug habeis, the second types of Hashem's actions, so whatever Hashem does in the state while this truth is still in the process of revelation. That this truth is not yet fully revealed, which is from the beginning of creation until the final redemption, should soon and speedily nowadays, because then it says, yeah, I'm not sure right now where he's going, but okay, we'll see in a second. Okay, but Amnam, right? But he's saying so. But whatever, for some reason he's dividing Hashem's actions into two categories: the actions that are after the revelation and actions that produce the revelations. Again, all of the gears that we mentioned above, kulam tluim al midas hasug hasheni hazeh. Okay, they're all connected to this second type of actions. In other words, the gears are designed
for this world.
What?
For this world.
For this world, right? Shehu legalis yechudoi. They're part of this process of revelation. V'zeh al yedei hester haponim sheyagdim legiluyim, and this is through the concealment of Hashem's presence, which comes before the revelation. So that's why part of the gears, right, part of this clock mechanism is also evil that exists in the world. The hara in its own right is only just destruction, deficiencies, and destructions. I'm sorry, defects, deficiency, and destruction. However, if you look at them as part of the full clock, from the Ra, there comes out to be great help for the person himself. Because as a result of its existence, there now is the entire merit and the existence of the service that a person accomplishes. I don't know exactly how to do, but basically because the Ra only exists not to be victorious, but to be victorious over it. For a person to be victorious over it. Pirush she'ein himotzo liyos nistas mino odom. Right? It only was brought about only to be removed from the odom. Ke'evan ha'emedas al parshas drachim. That like a stone that sits and blocks the road, which was brought as a mashal, in the medrash that we mentioned above. Okay, yeah, let's see just a little more. So you see that the evil is created to be nullified, and that we need to see from two perspectives. Mitzad himotzoi or mitzad hibotloi. So therefore, we study the Ra from two perspectives: from its existence and from its nullification. Okay, pirush mitzad hascholo, mitzad hasoif, meaning from its beginning and from its end. Right. So the Ra has two perspectives: the perspectives of itself, so to speak, and from the perspectives of its purpose, right? That's what it means, beginning and the end. What it is when you look at it of itself, and what it is when you look at it as part of the big picture. Okay? Mitzad hascholohu ra'avade, from its beginning perspective, in other words, from itself, ra'avade, it's certainly fully evil. Ach mitzad hasoif, however, from its end, in other words, from its purpose, Gam zela toiva. This too is for good. Because even at a time when it's fully strengthened and really strong, even from this there will be produced good. Because this is the darkness from which the light of perfection will be fully visible. Right? In other words, the darker the darkness, the more visible or the more bright will be the light. Right? So the evil, the first thing the first benefit that it provides is that it provides contrast for the revelation. Okay? Right? Good. V'oid, furthermore, sharei ze birur amitas hayichud b'chol gidroi. Furthermore, it provides a palette that allows the full truth, the full picture of the yichud of Hashem's oneness to be revealed in all of its aspects, right? Because since we said before, again, if you're going back, we said before that yichud is not two, right? Not just Hashem is one. And not two even, but Hashem is one, and not two, and not all the forces, and not all the beliefs, and not any other nations, and not anything that's not one, right? So, in order to fully bring out Hashem's yichud, you have to bring it out by negating all the things that are negating it, right? So, therefore, the more things that are negating it, the more yichud is revealed when those things are negated. Okay. So the more the more dark the darkness, the greater or the more fully the picture of yichud is brought out. Right, that's what he says. And from that perspective, the more dark it gets, more so much more the truth of the yichud will be revealed when that ra is nullified. And revach lo'odam atzmai hamisnase boy. The third benefit is that it provides benefit for the human being that gets tested by it. Kemoshel hazoyne in ben hamelach shedorshu hazal, from like a moshel of a prostitute and a prince, right? Son of a king. No, I'm not sure what this moshel is, but you get the idea. Fourth benefit, it's that there's what to do for a person, right? In other words, besides the nisoyan, there's also the corrective action, shehu misakin habriya biyodov, because now the human being is involved in fixing the bria with his own hands, and removes the deficiencies from the universe, and as a result, he becomes like a partner in Hashem's creating of the world, right? So not only is it an yisoyan for me, right? Like it's an yisoyan for me, but also it's an opportunity for me to rectify the world. If I rectify the world, I'm actually bringing about that future world, and so now I'm a partner in that future world, right? So far, how many benefits of Ra that we mentioned?
This is number 4.
This is 4, right? As the fourth benefit. V'oid, and the fifth benefit, hanisoyan shehu goyrim letzadikim. There's a special nisoyan that the Ra creates for tzadikim. Pirush, lo b'bchina sapitui la'aveira shekvar zecharnu, where this is not a nisoyan that is relative to its enticing, right? That we already mentioned from the harlot and the prince. Ela ikar hanisoyan hanoilad, the main part of this nisoyan results mehastir ha'odon esponavhu, when Hashem conceals His face, His presence. Ki aloy Hashem Omar, because didn't Hashem say al yidei kol niviyov, through all of His prophets, ki hu hamashgiach al kol hanivroyav, that He is the mashgiach, right, the providence over all the creations. Ve'einov, and His eyes, al kol darkei ishlos as ishlo kidrachav v'kifrim amalolov, that Hashem is always judging and observing to give each person what he deserves. Elamunov ve'einov, God of faith, God of trust, and there's no perversity. Ve'hinei achar asher hishmianu kazoi, since now that we have heard all of this, hinei hu misabev oilomoim b'misiboy samukois ve'etzos mirachoik. Hashem governs the world in all different circular ways, deep and distant. Hamarim l'chayra chas v'shalom hepechzeh, which initially seem to point to the opposite of Hashem's control and Hashem's justice and all of these things. Kipam yiri ki'ilu hakol biyad hamikra. Sometimes it appears as if everything is circumstance, chance. Hakol kasher lakol, and everything just happens randomly. Upam kinivnu oise risho, and sometimes when the evildoers actually prosper, and we don't find that the men of Hashem's army, or the good people of Hashem, the servants of Hashem, they don't get any reward for all the great work that they do. How many are crying out to Hashem and they're not answered? We call shar ha'inyonim, and all of these other similar types, asher haniach Hashem, which Hashem left in the world, l'nasais bom as libois b'nei odom, to test the hearts of man. Right. So this is a different type of a test. The first test was a test of what's the word? Was the test of sense experience. This is a test of faith. This is a test of intelligence. Right? V'hu ma shomer David HaMelech alav hashodom v'ani kemat natoi ragli ki kinesi b'hoililim. I'm not sure what he wants with this pasuk, but something to do that he almost gave up because of his kina, of his fighting against the hoilim, as those that make fun of this whole thing. Ki zehu hanisoyin. This is the nisoyin lirois, to see hayamdu bnei ha'odem be'amunosam, where the people will stand strong in their faith. v'lo yitomash milvovam hayised hatekua lemor, or will the peg of faith that is planted in their hearts, will they remove it from it, right? Vadai kelamuno ve'novel. Certainly Hashem is the God of trust, and there's no cruelty in Him. Afal pi she'enon mevinim dorchav, but still, even though we don't fully understand it, we have this faith that kelamuno ve'novel, that Hashem is trustworthy and there's no cruelty. Ve'al zeh nemar v'tzadik b'emunoso yichya. And regarding this, it says that the righteous will live in their faith. Right? Mm-hmm. So, again, this goes back probably to the Gemara, right? If there's a Gemara in the end of Makkos that says that, Moshe commanded 613 mitzvahs, and then came David HaMelech, and he narrowed it down to 11, then came Yeshayahu, and narrowed it down to 7, and then finally Habakkuk came, and he narrowed it down to 1, which is faith. Mm-hmm. So the way he's understanding this faith is because the whole world, in a certain sense, is a state of suffix, in a state of darkness, in a state of imperfection, and all of those deficiencies are continuous test of faith. So, which is ultimately the strongest nisayon is to square your belief system with the world that presents itself, right? Your intellectual reality, how much does it withstand the tests of the physical reality? Okay, now this is right, since he left this one for last, this is the great revach, great benefit in order to elevate this, to reach this great perfection. And Hashem left place for the evil to clothe the world in darkness in order to enable this type of nisayon. Now go out and understand how beloved will be the tzaddikim which are going to withstand this type of a nisayon. And how much great schar Hashem will give them in reward for this type of a service in the future. And this is part of Hashem's honor. Even the deepest darkness of complete concealment of His goodness is still only for His honor. And as a result, He's going to double and triple the reward for tzaddikim. Okay, so he enumerates here five benefits in the big picture of evil, of this darkness, and all of these things that seem to go neged Hashem, right? That's part of the intellectual test. That's the last one. So again, what are the five? So the first two are kind of in the architecture. That first is the contrast. The second one is being able to bring out yichud in all of its aspects, right? So negation of negation. The third one is the nisayon. The fourth one is becoming a partner with Hashem in the creation by fixing the creation. And the fifth one is the intellectual nisayon. Right? Okay. Okay, so I guess let's make a run to finish this page and a half, but here we go. So the end of all of this evil is to end off with the good. But it only happens through all of these wheels that we mentioned. because all of these wheels are designed to eventually turn everything towards good. But the existence of the nature of Ra, without looking at the gears, it by itself is totally bitter and evil. Hashchos of a hefsed, the defect in destruction. However, when these gears are working on it, so then once you appreciate that Ra exists within these wheels, then it's another tool for Hashem's for person's perfections. Even though its nature is to do evil and destruction, which is again not perfection, the opposite of what a person needs to do. But once it's included in all of the gears that are made to fix things, and it exists only to be removed. It also necessitates that a person should have a Yetzer Hara, no different taivos, and not to go after them, but rather to subjugate them and to remove them. But still, despite his subjugation of his taivos, he doesn't remove his his physical nature, which is really Ra. But that's part of the goodness, that the nature of Ra is within the fabric of mankind. But it doesn't destroy. I'm not sure exactly what he's saying here, but he's saying that it's a tricky point. This is a tricky point. He seems to be saying. He's saying, in as much as it's your job to remove the evil, but you will never be able to do that because you are still, no matter what you're going to do, you're still going to be that physical person. I'm not sure why he said that, why he's saying that. Because if I remember from Mesilas Yesharim, again, the end, at least Mesilas Yesharim, the end technically says that if you reach that level of Kedusha, then you technically, almost like in the state of Olam Haba, while still being in this world. So it sounds like, it does say that it's a gift, that it's a gift for your Hishtadlus.
But Derech Hashem, he's saying, like, when you see God through a bunch of prisms, like a clear prism, but still in the end, it's still going to be a prism. The glass.
Yeah, but that's true even Olam Haba. Even in Olam Haba, we're still going to be, we're not going to be gods, so, right? We're still going to be.
So is it the same?
I'm not sure, because that we wouldn't call that evil.
No,
when you reach whatever state of perfection.
Yeah, but the point is, like, no matter what you do, it's still going to be like one line.
But I don't think that's what he's saying here. Over here, he's saying that line, at least, that's not called evil. That's just called, for whatever reason, that's called a limitation, but that's not called evil. Over here, he's saying that, right? He does not lose his natural embedded evil. However, that's also for his benefit. That this evil should be part of the framework of man. But it doesn't destroy him, because the man is also connected to all of the goodness that's within his nature. However, in the end, when the true fruit, right, the true outcome will be brought about, שלתכליסו נעשה, יהיו הפרי הזה, העבורס הרע עצמה מן הבריאה, בהשלמס החסרונס. So, again, okay, so I'm not sure. Maybe again, we're talking about all types of people, not just the unique ones that break to this level of kedusha. But maybe what he's saying is that if a person removes as much evil as he possibly can remove, then that enables him to reach that ultimate perfection down the road. But it's not like perfectly, you know what I mean? Like, okay. Okay, let me just read a little more. Okay, v'nimtza shebiyoysa odom baruch hu mechoinen es elomoy Moshe Barno. Hine hoya mechoinen v'hoylech kol ma shetzorech l'matzovesh l'odom harishon hazeh zman ha'avodah. V'nimtza shebiyoysa odom baruch hu mechoinen es elomoy. Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu founded the world, Moshe Barno hine hoya mechoinen v'hoylech kol ma, or prepared the world, he prepared it. כל מה שצריך למצווה של אדם הראשון הזה, זמן העבודה. ועוז חידש הרע בכל חוקו וכוחו לפי עצמו, שכבר יש בו כל כך כוחו וחלוקים כמו שהם, חלקי העבודה והתיקון, I can't even read this. I'm reading this right. Okay, I'm not. When Hashem founded this world, or prepared this world, so he endowed it with all of the necessary elements for the avodah of this human being. So then he created this evil with all of its elements, okay? To endowed it with enough power, and elements, just the same amount of powers and elements that are necessary for all the different details and elements and again parts of the service that the Adam needs to accomplish, right? Okay, it's funny what we're saying, but the bottom line is the evil was created to match the avodah that the person needed to do. So then Hashem completed all of the gears that we mentioned, that are designed to remove all of the evil. And as a result, elevate the man in different levels. And then it's no longer given to Ra to do all of its abilities, but rather to be influenced by all these gears to be removed. and then based on this mapping, the slower world was created. Odom asher bo, and the person that's in it. V'nimtza shemi'ata kol midas hatoiv shehu klal kol hakoynis ha'elyonis zacharno. So what comes out is that all of the measure of goodness, which is all of these gears, ve'af midas hara atzma, and all of the evil measures of evil, shneim nechnosim l'toiva b'binyona shel odom. They're all entering for the sake of goodness in the fabric of Odom. However, the conclusion is when all of this, the fruit comes out, shehu hatikun haklali, which is the ultimate tikkun. However, until that work is completed, until that work is completed, even though the ra is made to be removed, it could also then cause him damage if he doesn't overcome it, because then the evil will overpower, but not the tikkun. Again, I'm not sure what he's trying to, which problems he's trying to resolve in this last paragraph. I'm not, yeah. I don't know why he made this this multi-level process. I don't fully understand this. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure why he designed it that way. I mean, I understand the picture, right? So, I understand the words. The words are saying that, right? So Hashem first created the map. What does the map look like? Okay, so we got the Adam on one hand, and the Adam has to check off all the following challenges in order to achieve his perfection. So now I have to create the Ra that matches all those challenges, to create those challenges that he needs to overcome. I now created the Ra. So the Ra is here, the Adam is here in theory, right? So it's, as it says, we have that mirror image of perfection and imperfection. Great. That's in the mapping. Now, then I create the clock mechanism that allows, anyways, because the whole universe is moving towards tikkun haklali, right? So now create the clock mechanism in the mapping that will allow this, regardless of Adam's actions, will in any ways enable this Ra to be removed, right? Yeah. So now I have the Adam within the clock mechanism. Now I'm ready to create the Adam. I create the Adam with the abilities of good and evil, but now it's circumscribed within the framework of the clock, which is moving towards perfection. Okay, so therefore, the evil, so to speak, that's embedded into the fabric of creation is not in its full force, because it's already, so to speak, on its way out. Okay, so it's already on its way out. So however, he says, even though it's already on its way out, while it's on its way out, it could still cause damage to the human being, even though, again, it's technically made less potent by the fact that it's part of this framework of gears that are working towards its removal. So while in its present form, it could still be damaging to the human being. That's basically what the words are saying. Okay, I can hear it, but what necessitates this map right now at this point, I don't know if I fully understand. Okay, let's summarize. Let's summarize again. Just the neshama response to this. Adheina dibarnu min hara bechlal. So now we spoke of evil only as in generalities. Tzorich lefarit yoiser ha'inyan. We need to go into greater detail das drochav befrat in order to understand its ways in detail, in particulars, right? So this is still talking in generalities, not yet in all the details that he wants to bring out. Okay, so what did we learn in this siman, in this 124 Kuf Chav Dalet? Right? What did we learn? We learned that the human being is a small gear in a big universal clock. Okay, but even though he's a small gear in a big universal clock, he's connected to every aspect of that universal clock, and therefore he's the central gear of this whole mechanism, right? And he also told us that this whole gear mechanism is only while the world is working towards perfection, tikkun klali, not later or during the rewards, right? Because this whole gear mechanism is set up in order for this whole business with Ra to happen, which is again the 5 benefits of Ra that for this architecture, right? The 2 benefits for the architecture, revelation and yichud, and the 3 benefits for human perfection, right? And so that when a person is able to overcome this Ra within this clock mechanism, he becomes a partner in the creation, and he reaches elevation of perfection, even though he doesn't really get out of the mechanism, and he's fully still, the evil is still kind of contained within him. Nonetheless, by him subjugating it, he therefore readies himself for the future. Okay, that's the mapping. Right? Yeah. Okay, to be continued.